Rin Marlowe had always been proud of her job at the Kepler-44 to be orbital research station. Floating hundreds of thousands of kilometers above the planet's surface, the station was a hub of human ingenuity, a place where engineers, scientists, and researchers pushed the boundaries of technology. Rin was a junior engineer, one of the youngest on the station, and she had worked hard to earn the trust of her colleagues. She liked the quiet hum of the station, the way lights reflected off metal corridors, and the sense that she was a part of something bigger than herself. That morning, Rin walked briskly down the main corridor toward the energy wing. The corridors smelled faintly of ozone and machinery oil, and the soft worry of the station's life support systems was comforting. Her task was routine: check the containment units in Reactor B, record energy readings, and make sure all the systems were stable. Easy, simple, safe. RIN. Past the observation deck where scientists watched holographic projections of the planet below. She smiled at them. They waved back, absorbed in their calculations, oblivious to the day's looming chaos. As she approached Reactor B, a small alarm chimed softly. She frowned, glancing at her handheld monitor. Just a minor fluctuation, she muttered to herself. It wasn't unusual. Reactors were sensitive. After all, but Rin felt a strange shiver run down her spine. Something didn't feel right. She entered the maintenance chamber and began her checks. The room smelled faintly metallic, and the hum of the reactor was louder here. As she scanned the energy output, the monitors began to flicker. Rin frowned. "That's odd," she said. She tapped the screen, and the reading spiked suddenly. A brilliant flash of light filled the room, blinding her for a moment. When her vision cleared, the room looked almost the same. But something had changed. The air smelled hotter, heavier. Her instruments were going wild, energy readings that shouldn't exist, numbers that seemed impossible. She looked around, heart racing. Then she heard it, a low hum, deep and resonant, unlike anything she had ever heard. The hum seemed to come from everywhere at once, vibrating through the floor, the walls, even her bones. She instinctively stepped back, tripping over a cable. "What in the world?" she whispered. Her monitor flickered again, and for a second she thought she saw shape shadows that moved on their own. She blinked. They were gone. Rin's first instinct was to call security, but when she reached for the comlink, it didn't respond. Panic rose in her chest. She ran to the emergency console, trying to activate the backup system. Nothing. Then, without warning, the reactor room doors slammed shut. Rin yelped, stepping back. Sparks flew from the control panel. The hum grew louder, almost painful. She pressed her hands over her ears, trying to block the sound. But it seemed to penetrate everything. A sudden pulse of light erupted from the reactor core, and Rin was thrown to the ground. She felt weightless, as if the room itself had shifted around her. The air shimmered with energy, and for a brief moment she saw it, a figure, or maybe a machine. She couldn't tell, standing at the center of the reactor. Its shape was bright, almost blinding, and it seemed to be observing her. Then the light vanished. The hum stopped. The doors unlocked. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. Rin scrambled to her feet, trembling. The reactor monitors were back to normal, as if nothing had happened. No alarms, no spikes, no strange readings. Even the scorch marks she expected to see on the floor were gone. It was like the incident had never happened. Her comlink buzzed. She jumped, answering it immediately. "Rin Marlowe here," Rin said, a calm, firm voice. It was Director Halson, her boss. "Report I don't know what happened," Rin stammered. "The reactor, there was a surge, a light. Something. I don't know. I didn't touch anything, I swear." There was a pause on the other end. Rin could almost hear him thinking. "I see," Halson said finally. His voice was calm but carried weight. "You'll have to own this." Rin froze. "Own this," she repeated, her voice small. "But I didn't do anything." "I know," Halson said. "But you were the last one in the reactor wing." Security cameras were offline for precisely 37 seconds. No one else saw anything. The station needs a story it can trust, and you're it. "I know it's unfair, but you'll have to explain it. Make it credible." Rin felt her stomach twist. She had trained for emergencies, yes, but this was beyond anything she had imagined. And now, somehow, it was her responsibility. She hung up and took a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. She had to think. She had to remember every detail, every flicker of light, every hum. Maybe she could explain it. Maybe she could make sense of what she had seen. Erin returned to the reactor wing, moving cautiously. She inspected every panel, every cable, every piece of equipment. Nothing looked unusual. Nothing was damaged. The energy readings were normal, almost boringly so. Yet she couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. Something had moved. Something had watched her. She wasn't alone. The AI interface for the station, a sleek holographic assistant named Kieran, flickered to life. Its usual soft, neutral tone was interrupted by a pause, almost as if it were hesitant. "Rin, do you perceive anomalies?" it asked. "Yes," Rin said immediately. "Something happened in Reactor B. Did you detect it?" "Negative. No anomalies recorded. All systems stable." Rin's heart sank. Even the AI hadn't noticed. Or maybe it had, and it was hiding it. She stepped back and stared at the hologram. "I need answers," she whispered. "Something happened here, and I don't know what." For a moment, the room was silent. Then the hum returned, soft this time, almost a whisper. Rin felt it in her chest, subtle but undeniable. She turned sharply, scanning the reactor. Nothing. The pulse passed. Leaving her breathless, Rin realized she couldn't tell anyone else yet. They wouldn't believe her. She needed proof. She needed evidence. But where could she find it when the station itself seemed determined to erase it? Hours passed. Rin documented everything she could, writing detailed reports, taking readings, and attempting to recreate the incident. Nothing worked. Every attempt produced ordinary results. Every anomaly disappeared. By the time she finally paused to rest, Rin felt exhausted. Her eyes were heavy, her hands trembling. She sat in the empty observation deck, looking down at the swirling clouds of Kepler-4 to be below. The planet was beautiful, serene, and completely unaware of the strange events above it, and yet Rin knew the truth. Something extraordinary had occurred. Something that no human or AI had ever experienced before. Something that could change everything they knew about the universe. But for now, she was alone with it. Alone and expected to own it. Alone and tasked with a story that no one would believe. Erin pressed her hands to her face and whispered to herself, "I didn't see anything, I swear." She looked up, staring at the reactor wing in the distance. The lights flickered ever so slightly, though she could not be certain if it was real or her imagination. Her heart pounded. She had no idea what she was up against, and in that moment, Rin realized the truth. The galaxy was vast. The unknown was endless, and humans curious, daring. Unpredictable humans were the only ones capable of facing it. Somehow, she would have to survive this. Somehow, she would have to own it. Somehow, she would have to prove that humans, with all their flaws and limits, were not just passengers in the universe, they could be its greatest force. The day after the reactor incident, Rin Marlowe woke early, unable to shake the feeling that something was wrong. She moved through the station corridors in silence, her footsteps echoing softly on the metal floor. Most of the station's personnel were busy with their own work, oblivious to the strange events of the previous day. But Rin could not forget the hum, the flash of light, and the figure that seemed to appear and vanish as if it had never existed. She entered the energy wing, where the reactor hummed quietly, almost peacefully. Her handheld monitor showed normal readings. Everything appeared fine, yet Rin could feel it, the subtle vibrations in the air, the faint warmth radiating from panels, yet the tiny shifts in energy that didn't make sense. Kieran, the station's AI, said softly, flickering to life in the corner of the room. "Do you require assistance?" "Yes," Rin replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "I need a full scan of Reactor B. I want to know if anything unusual is still present, no matter how small." Kieran's holographic form shimmered. Scanning initiated. "This may take several minutes." Rin paced the room, checking each panel by hand, looking for anything the AI might miss. Her eyes caught subtle scratches along a metal panel, faint enough that someone could easily overlook them. She crouched, tracing them with her gloved fingers. It looked almost like someone or something had touched the surface. There was no one else on the station who had access to this room. The scan completed. Kieran's voice was calm but precise. All systems operational. No anomalies detected. Energy output within expected range. Rin clenched her fists. "That's impossible," she muttered. "Something happened here. I felt it. I saw it." She decided she needed to investigate further. If no one else believed her, she would have to find evidence herself. She began searching areas of the reactor wing that were off limits to most personnel. Hidden maintenance tunnels and storage chambers. She checked every panel, every cable, every machine. Nothing seemed out of place until she noticed a small hatch tucked away in a shadowed corner. The hatch was nearly invisible, blending seamlessly with the wall. Rin's heart raced as she crouched and examined the locking mechanism. It was old technology, not used for routine maintenance. With a few careful adjustments, she unlocked it. The hatch swung open to reveal a narrow corridor, dark and dusty, leading deep beneath the reactor wing. Rin paused. The corridor seemed to hum faintly, a sound almost like the memory of the hum she had heard before. She hesitated, then took a deep breath. Curiosity overrode fear. She stepped inside. The tunnel was tight, forcing her to crouch at times. Sparks of light flickered along the walls, coming from exposed circuits and wiring. As she walked, she noticed strange markings on the wall's patterns that looked like they had been etched deliberately. They weren't letters or numbers, at least not in any language she recognized. Yet they seemed meaningful, almost like a code waiting to be understood. At the end of the corridor, Rin found a door unlike any she had seen on the station, smooth and metallic with no visible handle or lock. As she approached, the hum grew louder, vibrating through the floor and walls. She reached out tentatively, and the door slid open silently. Inside was a chamber, small and circular, glowing with a soft blue light. In the center of the room floated a crystalline object, pulsing gently as if alive. Rin's breath caught. The object wasn't part of the station. It was alien its surface, shimmered with colors she had never seen, constantly shifting and changing, and it seemed aware. The crystalline object pulsed in response to her presence, almost like it was observing her. Rin's instincts told her to run, to leave immediately. But something deeper urged her to stay, to understand. She stepped closer. Suddenly a voice echoed inside the chamber, not from a speaker. Not from any visible source, but directly inside her mind. "Human," it said, calm and neutral. "You perceive me." Rin froze, her heart pounding. "Who? What are you?" "The Overseer." "I am the Overseer," the voice replied. "I observe all that is contained within this station. Your presence is intriguing." Rin's mind raced. Was this a machine? A living organism? Something beyond comprehension? She realized she was standing before intelligence far beyond anything humanity had encountered. I don't understand," Rin admitted. "Why? Are you here? What happened yesterday?" "There was no harm intended," the Overseer said. "Your reactor emitted energy fluctuations beyond acceptable parameters. I was compelled to investigate. You witnessed only a fraction of my presence. The rest is hidden, as you saw." Rin swallowed hard. "Hidden? You mean you can move without being seen?" "Yes." "My form adapts to your perception," the Overseer replied. "Few beings can perceive me directly. You are unusual." Rin's thoughts spun. Humans had always prided themselves on ingenuity, creativity, and unpredictability. Could that be what the Overseer meant? She didn't know, but she felt a surge of determination. "Why me?" she asked. "Why here?" "Because," the Overseer said slowly, "you think beyond patterns. You act beyond predictability. You are capable." Rin's stomach twisted. "Capable of what?" She glanced at the crystalline object. It pulsed softly, almost like it was waiting for her to respond. "I don't know what I can do," she admitted honestly. "I'm just an engineer. Yet even engineers can shape the course of events," the Overseer said. "I have observed many civilizations. Yours is young, chaotic, and promising, but you are at risk." Forces beyond this station have noticed your energy signatures. They may arrive soon. Rin's pulse quickened. Arrive? What forces? I cannot specify, the overseer replied. But your species' ingenuity is the variable they do not anticipate. You may be humanity's only chance to survive what is coming. Rin took a deep breath. Her hands trembled slightly as she touched the surface of the crystalline object. It felt warm, almost alive. A surge of energy coursed through her, not painful, but intense enough to make her knees buckle. She fell to the floor, catching herself with a hand. Do not be afraid, the overseer said. Out. You are chosen to act. Learn, observe, and adapt. You may not understand now, but time is limited. Rin sat back, breathing heavily. She had never felt so small and yet so important at the same time. The reactor incident, the flash of light, the hum everything suddenly made sense. She had witnessed something extraordinary, something humanity had never encountered. But understanding it would take more than courage. It would take intelligence, creativity, and the ability to act under pressure. Rin stood slowly, her eyes fixed on the crystalline object. Okay, she whispered. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I'll try. The overseer pulsed in response, almost like a nod. That is all I ask for now. Observe the station, learn its patterns, use your human intuition. You are necessary. For the rest of the day, Rin moved carefully through the reactor wing, pretending to conduct routine maintenance. She monitored every system, noting tiny anomalies the AI missed. Sparks flickered where circuits were slightly off. Temperatures fluctuated in small but measurable ways. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but she could feel the presence of something unseen, influencing the station in ways no human or AI should be able to detect. Kiran, the station AI, continued to assist her as usual, but Rin noticed something curious. The AI's pattern seemed slightly altered, almost like it was being influenced by something external. She could not prove it, but she felt it, and she knew it was connected to the overseer. That night, Rin found herself alone in the observation deck, staring down at the swirling clouds of Kepler 44 to be below. She thought about what the overseer had said, that forces beyond the station were watching, that humanity's unpredictability was a weapon and a shield. And she realized that her life, and perhaps the lives of everyone on the station, were about to change forever. Somewhere in the shadows of the station, something moved, silent, invisible, yet present. Rin felt a strange thrill mixed with fear. She had seen the future, glimpsed forces beyond human understanding, and now she had a choice: retreat into safety or rise to meet what was coming. She clenched her fists. Humans were small, fragile creatures, but they were also clever, daring, and resilient. She would not back down. She would face whatever came. And for the first time, Rin understood that the incident in Reactor B was only the beginning. The true challenge was only just beginning. The galaxy was watching, and humans. Humans were not powerless. The next morning, Rin Marlowe woke up with a heavy feeling in her chest. She had slept very little. Thoughts of the overseer, the hidden chamber, and the warnings about unknown forces kept circling in her mind. She walked through the station's quiet corridors, feeling the weight of something approaching, something unseen but real. As she reached the main engineering deck, she noticed people speaking in hushed voices. Screens displayed unusual readings. Red markers blinked softly. Everyone looked confused. RIN approached a group of technicians clustered around a holographic map of nearby space. What's going on? She asked. A senior technician named Lyra looked up at her. Long-range sensors picked up something strange. A fleet of unknown ships entered the system an hour ago. Rin felt a cold chill run through her. Unknown? How many ships? 7, Lyra replied. Small, fast, and giving off an energy signature we've never seen before. They're moving in our direction. Erin swallowed hard. She remembered the overseer's warning. Forces may arrive soon. This must be it. Director Halson stepped into the room, his face unusually serious. Everyone remain calm, he said. We don't know their intentions yet. They might be explorers, or they might simply be scanning the system. We're sending a message to establish peaceful communication. Rin's heart beat faster. She wanted to speak up, to warn Halsin about the overseer, but she knew it was too risky. She had no proof, only a floating crystal in a hidden room and a voice in her mind. If she tried explaining, she would sound confused, even unreliable. Kieran, the station's AI, flickered into view. Director, the unknown fleet has changed formation. They are scanning our station. Scanning, Halsin repeated sharply. Why? Kieran paused, processing. Their scans are focused on our reactor signatures. Specifically, Reactor B. Rin felt her stomach tighten. Reactor B, the place where she had seen the overseer. The place where the energy spike happened. Halsin turned toward her. Rin, I need you in Reactor B now. Check everything. Make sure we're not sending out strange signals. Yes, sir, she replied quickly. She hurried toward the reactor wing, her mind racing. Inside Reactor B, she ran a full diagnostic. Everything looked normal. Yet she could feel the faint hum again, the same energy she felt the day she met the overseer. Overseer. Rin whispered softly, unsure if it could hear her. Are you still here? A faint pulse of light shimmered above the reactor, not bright, barely noticeable, but enough for her to know she wasn't alone. I am present, the overseer said, its voice echoing gently in her thoughts. What's happening out there? Rin asked. Who are those ships? The overseer took a moment before answering. They are seekers. They follow trails of energy, searching for advanced power sources. Your reactor spike caught their attention. Rin's breath hitched. Are they dangerous? They do not understand your species. They analyze. They test. They adapt. If they cannot understand you, they may respond with force. Rin felt fear rise, but she kept her voice steady. What do they want? To know who caused the energy disturbance, the overseer replied. To know who used the power that does not belong to them. Rin stepped back, feeling dizzy. You mean, they think we caused your energy pulse? Yes, the overseer said. They assume this station is experimenting with technology they consider forbidden. Forbidden? The word made Rin's skin prickle. Humanity was being mistaken for a threat. A mistake like that could lead to disaster. Overseer, Rin whispered, we don't have your level of technology. They'll see us as weak. Not weak, the overseer corrected. Unpredictable. And that is what confuses them. Rin blinked. Unpredictable? The overseer pulsed brighter. Machines and advanced species rely on patterns. Humans break patterns. You think sideways? You create solutions no algorithm can predict. That is your strength. Rin didn't know what to say. She never saw humans as special, not in the grand scale of space. But hearing it from something so advanced made her chest warm with a strange, cautious pride. Before she could respond, alarms blared across the station. Red lights flashed. Kieran's voice echoed from the speakers, calm but urgent. All personnel brace for impact. The unknown fleet has released energy probes. They are attempting to breach our shielding. Rin's heart pounded. Overseer. What do we do? The overseer answered with calm certainty. You must guide your people. Use your intuition. Their logic cannot predict your actions. Rin ran toward the command center. When she arrived, Halsin was shouting orders. Screens displayed waves of bright yellow lights hitting the station's shields. They flickered dangerously. We're losing power. A technician cried, Reroute auxiliary energy? Halsin ordered. It's not enough, another replied. Their probes are too strong. Rin stepped forward. Director, let me try something. Halsin turned sharply. Rin, this is not the time, please, she insisted. I know what they're targeting. I think I can help. Halsin hesitated, then nodded. Go! Rin sat at an open console. Her fingers flew across the controls. She didn't follow standard procedures. Instead, she let her instincts guide her. She rerouted power in strange, uneven patterns that made no logical sense. Rin, Lyra said, alarmed. What are you doing? Something unpredictable, Rin replied. Trust me. She redirected shield power to form uneven pulses, like a heartbeat instead of a steady barrier. Shields are fluctuating in a strange rhythm, Kieran said. Exactly, Rin replied. The alien probes struck the shields again. But this time, the energy didn't hit a stable surface. It hit a moving, shifting pulse. The probes flickered, confused. They don't understand the pattern, Kieran reported. Their system is trying to adapt. But it culled moments later, the alien probes fizzled out, unable to predict the strange shield rhythm Rin had created. The station fell silent. Everyone stared at the screens in shock. Halsin slowly turned to Rin. How? How did you know that would work? Rin took a shaky breath. Because humans don't think like machines, and they don't think like us. The unknown fleet hovered outside the station, silent and motionless. They had stopped their attack, clearly confused. Director Halsin, Kieran said, the fleet has ceased scanning. They appear to be regrouping. Rin heard the overseer's voice once more. Well done, Rin Marlowe. Their logic failed to read your actions. Rin felt warmth in her chest. She had saved the station not with technology, but with intuition. Something she never thought would matter on a space station filled with machines and equations. Halsin placed a hand on her shoulder. Rin, you may have just prevented a disaster. Rin nodded. But she knew this wasn't over. The alien fleet was still out there, watching, learning. If they returned, they might come with more force. Arin looked out the large viewport in the command center. Staring at the silent ships drifting in space, humans were small compared to the universe. But they had something special, something no machine could. Replicate creativity, courage, unpredictability, and she realized something powerful. Humanity was not outmatched. Not completely. The Overseer had chosen her for a reason. She had protected the station once. She would do it again if she had to, but deep in her heart, she knew the real test was still coming. The galaxy had noticed humans, and it was only the beginning. Rin Marlowe sat alone in the observation deck, staring at the quiet planet below. Kepler 442b swirled beneath her in shades of blue and green, peaceful and unknowing. Above it, the alien fleet lingered at the edge of the system, observing, waiting. Every fiber of her being was tense. She knew they could return at any moment. Kieran's voice broke the silence. Rin, the alien fleet is recalibrating. They may attempt another scan. Or worse. Rin swallowed hard. We can't rely on luck again. I need a plan. She thought about the Overseer, the crystalline AI she had discovered in Reactor B. It was powerful, but unstable. Its energy output had already drawn attention from beings far stronger than humans. If the Overseer became fully active without guidance, it could destroy the station or worse, attract the fleet's full force. Rin's decision was made. She would enter the hidden chamber again and stabilize the Overseer herself. No one else could do it. Not safely. Not without destroying the station. She walked briskly through the corridors, passing technicians and scientists who were unaware of the crisis she faced. Only the hum of the station accompanied her. Every step brought memories of the flash of light, the floating figure, the pulse that had shaken her the day she first met the Overseer. When she reached Reactor B, she paused, taking a deep breath. The maintenance hatch leading to the hidden corridor was just ahead. Her hands trembled slightly as she unlocked it. The air beyond shimmered faintly, as though charged with energy. She stepped inside. The corridor was narrow, forcing her to move carefully. The faint markings along the walls glowed softly, almost like warnings. Rin traced them lightly with her fingertips, feeling an odd warmth. She had studied them before, but now, under the stress of the approaching fleet, they seemed to pulse with meaning. At last she reached the circular chamber where the Overseer floated. The crystalline AI shimmered brightly, casting light on the metallic walls. It pulsed rapidly as she entered, almost agitated. Overseer, Rin called softly. It's me. You need to stabilize. We don't have time. The voice came into her mind immediately. Human. I am. Not fully integrated. My core fluctuates. Rin stepped closer, careful not to touch the floating crystal directly. Sparks of energy flickered along the chamber walls, She knew one wrong move could overload the core, destroying the station, but she had no choice. "You'll have to trust me," Rin whispered. She studied the control panels around the chamber. The Overseer's energy field responded to her presence, pulsing in rhythm with her movements. Carefully, she rerouted energy flows, adjusting the patterns not logically, but intuitively. Each adjustment required timing, instinct, and courage. The crystalline object shivered. "Your patterns are chaotic, yet effective," Rin nodded, focusing. "That's human intuition. That's what saves us." Minutes passed like hours. The chamber glowed with intense blue light. Energy spikes flickered, threatening to overload. Rin's hands moved faster, her mind calculating, imagining solutions that no machine could anticipate. She was improvising, trusting her instincts. Suddenly, a surge of energy shot through the reactor wing. The lights flickered, and alarms echoed across the station. Rin stumbled, but held her ground. "The fleet?" she whispered. "They're detecting the fluctuations?" "Yes," the Overseer said. "They react." Predictably, Rin smiled faintly, despite the fear. Predictable isn't unbeatable. She shifted the energy flows again, creating irregular pulses, uneven and unpredictable. The Overseer's core vibrated violently, but stabilized slowly under her guidance. The energy that had threatened to destroy the station now flowed in a controlled rhythm. The chamber hummed with power, but it was no longer chaotic. Arin wiped sweat from her forehead. Almost there. Just a little more. Her eyes caught a small crack forming in one of the control panels. Sparks flew. She realized she needed to adjust the auxiliary circuits manually. She grabbed a toolkit from her belt and carefully rewired the connections. Every wire she moved, every connection she adjusted, had to be perfect. "Careful," Kieran said through the chamber speakers. "One mistake could overload the core." "I know," Rin replied. "I can feel it. That's why I'm doing it." The crystalline AI pulsed faster, almost as if it were reacting to her determination. "Human, your actions. Unpredictable, my systems. Adapting." Rin's lips pressed together in concentration. She rerouted another set of energy conduits, guiding power through the station's auxiliary network. The hum shifted, synchronized with her movements. The energy was no longer wild. It obeyed her instincts, her timing. Suddenly, the chamber shook violently. Sparks and debris fell from the ceiling. Rin stumbled, but held on. Outside, she could hear the fleet's energy probes striking the station's shields. The station trembled under the impact. "You must finish now," the Overseer said. "Time is short. The fleet will return with greater force if not." Controlled, Rin focused every ounce of energy she had. Her fingers flew across the panels, combining circuits in unconventional ways. Energy flowed smoothly into the Overseer's core. The light pulsed brightly, then softened. The hum became steady, like a heartbeat. "It is stable," the Overseer said. "Human, you have succeeded." Rin exhaled, her knees trembling. She had done it. Against all odds, she had stabilized the Overseer, using nothing but her instincts, courage, and human intuition. The lights flickered outside the chamber as the fleet hovered at the edge of the system, confused. Their energy scans hit the station, but they could not detect the stabilized energy flows. Rin realized they could not predict the new patterns she had created. The station had become a puzzle they could not solve. Halston's voice came over the intercom. "Rin, status report." Rin took a deep breath. "Reactors stabilized. Overseer core is controlled. Shields are holding. The fleet. They're confused. They can't read us." There was a long pause. Then Halston said quietly, "Rin, I don't know how you did it, but you saved this station. You saved all of us." Rin felt a surge of pride, but she also felt the weight of responsibility. The Overseer pulsed quietly now, stable, but still powerful. She had learned something important. Humans were unpredictable, creative, and resilient. That unpredictability was their greatest strength. Overseer Rin said softly, "We'll need your help if they return. Can you work with us?" The crystal pulsed warmly. I will cooperate. Humans are intriguing. Rin smiled faintly. She had formed an alliance with something far beyond human understanding, and together they might have a chance against the unknown fleet hours later. Rin stood in the observation deck again, staring at Kepler-4 to be below. The fleet remained at the edge of the system, still observing, still unsure. The station was quiet, but Rin knew this peace was temporary. She thought about what the overseer had said earlier. Human intuition could outmatch alien logic. She realized that, for the first time, she believed it. Humans were small in the galaxy, fragile in some ways. But their creativity and courage made them unpredictable and formidable. Rin clenched her fists. She didn't know what the future would bring. But she understood something crucial. Humans could rise to challenges that seemed impossible. They could adapt. They could survive, and now, with the overseer stabilized and the station safe for the moment, Shreen Marlowe was ready for whatever came next. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown dangers, but humans were not powerless, and Rin would ensure that humanity's strength, unpredictability, and courage would be known no matter the odds. The battle had been won, for now, but the war of the real test was only beginning. Rin Marlowe stood at the observation deck of Kepler-4 to be orbital research station, staring at the distant alien fleet lingering at the edge of the system. Even after stabilizing the overseer, the unknown ships remained a silent threat. They had retreated for now, but Rin knew this peace would not last. Director Halson approached quietly. "Rin," he said, his voice calm but heavy with respect. "You've done more than any of us imagined. The station is safe, the overseer stabilized, and the fleet confused. I don't know how you managed it." Rin shook her head. "I didn't do it alone, the overseer. It helped, but I think," she hesitated, "humans can do things machines can't. We think differently. We act unpredictably. That's why we survived." Halson studied her for a moment, then nodded. "You're right. Humans may be small in this galaxy, but we are clever, adaptable, and determined. You've proven that today." Rin turned back to the viewport. The alien ships hovered silently, their shapes strange and unfamiliar. She thought about the overseer's words. Humans are unpredictable. You may be humanity's only chance to survive. Her mind raced. If the fleet returned, they might come with more force. And she realized that she needed to prepare, not just for the station, but for humanity. She moved quickly through the corridors, activating defensive protocols and checking every system. Kieran, the station's AI, assisted her, running simulations and calculations. Yet Rin's decisions were not based solely on logic. They were based on intuition, creativity, and experience. The overseer floated nearby, its crystalline form pulsing softly. "Human, you continue to act. Unpredictably," it said. "Your species is fascinating." Rin smiled faintly. "That's a nice way of saying we're stubborn." The overseer pulsed brighter. "Perhaps stubbornness is a form of strength." Rin laughed quietly, but she knew the stakes were high. The fleet was still out there. They were observing, analyzing, and adapting. If the humans on the station made a mistake, the consequences could be catastrophic suddenly. A sharp alarm echoed through the station. Kieran's voice rang out urgently. "Unknown fleet returning. They are deploying multiple energy probes, shields at 60%. Rin's heart pounded. She rushed to the command center, Halson and the other engineers following her. The station trembled as the probe struck, testing defenses. "Rin, what now?" Halson shouted. Rin took a deep breath. "We improvise. Again." She remembered the first time she had guided the station's shields with unpredictable patterns. She had no formula this time, no plan other than instinct. "Reroute auxiliary power in staggered pulses," she ordered. "Use random sequences, not predictable waves." Technicians worked quickly under her guidance, following her unconventional instructions. Sparks flew as circuits overloaded and reset. Systems flickered, but the station held. The fleet's probes struck the shields. But each time they were thrown off by Rin's unpredictable patterns. Kieran spoke calmly but with surprise. "They cannot adapt. Your strategy." is beyond algorithmic prediction. Rin's heart raced. That's the point. Humans can't always be calculated. That's what makes us dangerous to anyone who thinks they can control everything. The fleet pulsed brightly outside the viewport, energy waves dancing across their hulls. Then something unexpected happened. The overseer extended a small pulse of its own energy, sending a wave toward the fleet. The alien ships recoiled slightly, as if surprised. Rin realized the potential. Overseer, amplify the pulses but stay stable. The crystalline AI pulsed rapidly, carefully balancing its power. Energy waves shot out, synchronized with the station's shields in an unpredictable rhythm. The alien fleet's probes fizzled and dissipated. They attempted to recalibrate, but could not adapt to the combined human unpredictability and overseer-guided energy. Rin felt a rush of adrenaline. This was more than survival, it was a demonstration. Humans had survived by thinking creatively, acting boldly, and refusing to follow patterns. The fleet, for all their strength, could not predict human intuition. Halsin looked at Rin with awe. "You've done it again," he said softly. "The fleet, they're retreating, they're unsure, they can't figure us out." Rin exhaled, her body trembling from the tension. "For now," she said, "but they'll return. We need to be ready, always ready." The overseer's voice resonated in her mind. "Human, you have acted decisively. Your species' creativity, courage, unpredictability. It's remarkable. Perhaps you are worthy of trust." Rin smiled faintly. "I hope so. Humanity doesn't always deserve luck, but we deserve a chance." Hours later, the station had calmed. The alien fleet drifted silently at the edge of the system, unsure of what to do next. Rin walked through the corridors, checking on her colleagues. They were exhausted, but safe. For the first time, she felt a sense of accomplishment, not just for herself, but for everyone on the station. Halsin approached her again. "Rin, you understand the weight of what you've done, don't you? You didn't just stabilize the overseer or protect this station. You've proven that ordinary humans, can face extraordinary challenges, that unpredictability, courage, and creativity. Those are our strengths." Rin nodded. "I understand. But it's more than that. Humans aren't just reacting to danger. We can shape it. We can turn threats into opportunities if we use our minds, our instincts, and our determination." Halston's eyes softened. "And you've shown that today. The overseer. The fleet. They've learned that humans are not to be underestimated." Rin looked back at the observation deck, the swirling clouds of Kepler-4 for to be below. She realized that the station, the overseer, and the alien fleet were only part of a bigger picture. Humanity was small, fragile, and untested in the vastness of space, but humans had something extraordinary: imagination, courage, and the ability to think beyond rules. She clenched her fists. "I'll make sure humanity keeps that edge. We won't let fear or weakness hold us back." Over the next few days, Rin worked tirelessly with the overseer and the station crew. They analyzed the alien fleet's behavior, strengthened shields, and devised strategies for unpredictability. She trained technicians to improvise, to act intuitively, and to trust their instincts. Slowly, the station became a fortress, not just of technology, but of human ingenuity. Rin watched as her colleagues adapted, realizing that their unpredictability was a weapon. And she knew that the overseer's cooperation meant that humans were no longer alone. They had an ally capable of understanding and amplifying their strengths. One evening, Rin returned to the hidden chamber, standing before the crystalline AI. "We've stabilized you," she said softly. "But it's more than that. We're preparing humanity. We're learning to act with courage, creativity, and unpredictability. We can face anything." The overseer pulsed warmly. "Human, you are remarkable. Your species' potential, immense. I will follow your guidance. Together, we may survive what is coming." Rin nodded. "We will survive. We'll make sure humanity is known, not just as survivors, but as beings who can change the course of events." For the first time, Rin felt calm. She knew the fleet might return. Challenges would come. She also knew humans were ready. They had faced the unknown, relied on instincts, turned unpredictability into a weapon. Humans were small in the galaxy, yes. Fragile, yes. They were clever, daring, and resilient. And Rin Marlowe understood one final truth: ownership of events. Courage and determination could turn fear into strength. She looked out at the distant stars, the swirling clouds of the planet below, and the unknown fleet far away. She smiled faintly. Humanity had a chance not just to survive, but to leave a mark on the universe. The journey had been dangerous. The challenges had been immense. But Rin knew, deep in her heart, that humans were capable of facing any threat, adapting and thriving. She turned back to the Overseer, standing tall and resolute. Together, they would guide humanity's place in the galaxy. And for the first time, Rin Marlowe felt truly proud. Not just of herself, but of the human race. The stars were vast, universe was unknown, but humans. Humans were unstoppable when they embraced their creativity, courage, and unpredictability, and Rin would make sure the galaxy remembered that.